What's going on? My name is Solaris. I'm going to be trying to tell you guys the fastest way to get mushrooms in Creatures of Sonaria. If you do go on to enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. And let's get into it. So pretty much, in my opinion, the fastest way to get mushrooms is to do the death token grind. You can do the trade realm, but it's very niche sometimes. You could be sitting in there for hours just trying to sell one creature that you have. And personally, I feel like it's just not worth it. But instead, you could do the death token, which is what I personally use to make any kind of mushrooms on this game. But pretty much the first thing you need to do is get into a small server. If you don't know how, you go into servers once you're on the main menu. Go into servers. And then hit ascending, and you'll find small servers to join. And pretty much what I use personally is just this guy right here. He is your best friend. If you go into the shop and you go into trial, and he's right there for 5 mushrooms, it's all you need. If you've never played this game before, that's your best bet. Play the game for like 15 minutes, get 5 mushrooms, and then buy a Ulipy. And pretty much what you have to do is do all these region missions that will pop up once you spawn in. These ones on the right hand side here if you don't know how to do it. And you will start to gain death points, which is in the stats menu if you look at it. And then it's right there, death points. You can see I have pretty much 400 in about an hour. Usually I can get about 1200, which is what you need for the death token. I can usually get it in about 3 hours, give or take, something like that. So it is a big grind, it is monotonous, it is tedious. There's really only 2 major ways to make money, and that's just either sit in the trade realm and wait for somebody to trade you something for, under what it's worth, and then you can oversell it to somebody, which usually doesn't happen too much, unless it's for a really expensive creature, like a Caldon or a Boreal or something like that. Personally, I think it's just easier to do this method. It might take you a long time, but I feel like it's just worth it to do it. Because either way, it's going to be a grind, whether you're sitting in the trade realm for hours on end, or you're doing this in the meantime. So pretty much, when you get to 1200 death points, you will get a bunch of stuff. So if I go to my calculator here and pull it up, you're going to get about 1200 just from doing the missions. Because usually every mission you do gives you 4 mushrooms, and that'll give you 4 death points. So pretty much when you get to 1200, that's how many mushrooms you make off of the missions. Once you get to 1200 and you do die, you will get about an extra 50 mushrooms and an extra 25 just from doing the death point grind. And then I believe you get about 4 mushrooms every minute or every 3.5 minutes. I can't remember off the top of my head. So post editing me here, I did find out that it is 5 mushrooms every 2 minutes. So instead of doing 180 times 4 like I did, I just did 5 times 90. You get 5 mushrooms every 2 minutes. So you pretty much just cut that 180 in half to 90 minutes, and you will get 450. So a little bit less than 700, but even if you add up all of the other things that we have, you're still making a good bit of mushrooms off of what you're doing. It's a little bit less than that, but again, it also depends on how much you sell things for. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. It is 5 mushrooms every 2 minutes. So you'll get around 450 mushrooms if it takes you about 3 hours. And then you also will get revive token, max growth token, and a partial growth token. I've been able to sell all my revives for 1000 every time usually, because people are willing to pay for that. It's not a creature. Sometimes people's creatures die and they just want to be able to revive it, so they're willing to overpay for it sometimes. If you can't get somebody to overpay for it, you can at least make 800 for it. So let's say 800 and then plus another 550 for the partial or the max growth, and then plus like 250 for the partial growth. So you get like 3600 from that. And then when you're ready to sell your death token. Do not overprice it. Don't sell it for 5,000 to 6,000. Because most of the time, people that do that bought it from somebody else and they're trying to make more of a profit. In my opinion, it's just easier to underpay or undersell it. So like 4,000 is what I usually sell it for. And you're still making around 8,000 mushrooms. Especially, you know, you could also, like I said, sell your revive for more. I sold a max growth for 850 to somebody. Some people are willing to overpay. But the reason I would not suggest or selling your death token for more than 4,000 is just because of the time save. It's gonna take you a lot longer to sell it, and in the meantime you could be doing more of the death token grind. So in my opinion, it's just worth it to just get it out of your inventory quick and then go back to the grind if you have the time. If you don't plan on doing this right after, then I would suggest just selling it at 4.5 or 5,000. But if you just want to do it fast and you want to go right back on to your death token grind, it's much easier just to sell that death token for 3.5 to 4,000, and somebody will pay for it because they can still make a little bit of money off of it. And that's the biggest thing with the trade realm. People are not going to sell you something for under what it's worth, most likely, because they're trying to make a profit themselves. Chances are they bought that creature that they're trying to sell off of somebody else, and they don't want to not make any money on it. That's usually how it goes. So you'll usually never find somebody that's willing to overpay for anything, unless it's like a Caldon Terrace or a Boreal, which somebody really wants. Then they might be willing to overpay for it, but the chances are still very slim. So now, in terms of doing these missions, I always use a Eulipy. If you press 3, you have the tail drop ability, and what that will do is allow you to drop your tail, so you don't have to worry about going slow or anything like that. But the biggest thing is it will take down your hunger when you regrow it, like I just did. And usually the hardest mission is the 50 units of food or water. But with this creature, it's very easy. You just drop your tail over and over again until you need to eat. And this is usually what I will do. I'll sit here. Of course, it's foggy weather, so I can't sniff. You can't sniff during foggy weather and windy weather. There might be other ones too, but I've never had any other ones. But while I'm eating and while I'm doing mud piles, like you have to do 3 mud piles, survive for 150 seconds, travel 2,500 studs, and then the rest that you see here you have to do. So the hardest one is going to be attack or heal a player 5 times. If you have a friend that's willing to help you, you guys can help each other out actually, but if you have somebody that's willing to help you with it, it is way faster. I usually have somebody help me with it, and it takes me about 2 hours and 45 minutes to do it. If you don't have somebody that's willing to help you with it, you can always, what I would do personally is go around the map, go all the way around the map, go to the desert, go to Mesa, go to the mountains, go to Redwood, Pride Rock, go to every location, do all the missions that you can do there, except for the attack or heal players. What you're gonna do after that is just go around with a healer that you have. Whether or not you buy a healer for really cheap, you could buy any healer in here, like a Flicky Fly or something in here, really cheap, and then just go around the map and heal people 5 times to reset your missions. It is gonna take longer than it would be. Make sure you go in a full server for that. That way you can go to many different biomes and do it. Doing it on a small server is not really worth it. But if you do have somebody to help you, it will go a lot faster. But I know not everybody does, so that's what I would recommend. You can also just ask people if you can hit them, but that's kind of risky because then they could kill you and you could lose all of your death points. And it's just a nightmare. I would not recommend doing that. I would just personally use a healer and just do it that way. Again, it will take longer, but it's not the end of the world. It's gonna take longer no matter what you do. So doing the extra stuff for 15 minutes is just a lot more worth it than trying to sit there and talk to people, and then they might kill you, and then you'll lose everything, and then you won't want to play anymore, and you'll quit. Don't ask me how I know this, because I've done that. I've died multiple times. It's just safer to go on another creature and just heal people. Most of the time, people don't kill healers. But if you go up and start ankle biting people, especially without asking, you will probably die. Now, you can ask and maybe people will let you. I've done that a couple times, but it's still very, very risky. And personally, I don't think it's worth it. In conclusion, your best bet is to do the death point grind. All the money I've made is from doing death points. It is monotonous, again, it is tedious and annoying, but either that or you can sit in the trade realm with a creature that you bought and try and sell it. I can never sell anything I get. Most of the time, people aren't going to have very expensive creatures. People want, like, a lot of people want like a Caldon or Boreal, you know, something along those lines, and a lot of people don't have them. If you do and you got it for cheap, you can try and sell it. But here's the thing, people are gonna try and underpay for things, and other people are gonna try and oversell things for more than what they're worth 99% of the time, which is usually why I don't use the trade realm, and that is why I will always sell things for less than what they're worth usually, unless somebody's willing to overpay for it, like a revive or a max growth. Again, it'll take you between 2.5 if you're really fast at it to 3 hours. This creature also has burrows, so you can literally just set up a burrow anywhere. So I can set up a burrow in the swamp, and now I'm in the tundra, so I can just place another burrow here. I can go into this one, and then I can just travel between the tundra and the swamp, and then you can also do 2 more locations. And you can just do those if you want. Personally, I don't do this. I just travel around the entire map, especially if you don't have a friend. If you do have a friend, I would recommend using the burrows, because you can complete all the challenges in each area with each other. If you don't, go around the map and do all the missions that you can do. And then once you circle around back to where you started, go on to a healer and do it that way. That is just the easiest way to do it. Now that's pretty much the end of the video. In conclusion, just do the death token grind. It's monotonous and annoying, but you have a guaranteed chance of making something, roughly like 7,000. If you have the time, but you don't want to spend real life money, just do the death token. If you don't have a lot of time, but you have a lot of money, then you could also just buy mushrooms if you want, but they are very expensive to get this. 1,800 Robux for 7,000 mushrooms, or 3 hours for 7,000 mushrooms, and potentially more if you sell things for different amounts. In my opinion, death token grind all the way. Again, make sure you don't overprice your death token. Just get it out fast, like 3.5 to 4,000. Get it out, and then go start your next set of death tokens. Anyway, if you guys found this video helpful at all, please leave a like and subscribe. It would very much help me out. In the future, I will try and make more Creatures of Sonaria videos, whether it's just having fun, messing around, or doing tutorials and things of the sort. I'd like to try other Roblox games as well. But yeah, hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.